Hey, beautiful souls, are you a student on the cusp of your counseling journey? Or maybe even a seasoned professional working for somebody else but dreaming of launching your very own private practice? If so, I would love for you to join my incredible coaching membership today. It's tailor made for therapists just like you, offering step by step support 24/7 because you know what? We're in this together. Plus, I've even got courses and CPD trainings included to help fuel your growth. I know, I love it so much, and I hope you do too. Discover the path to your dream private practice your way. Dive into the supportive community and get some quick guidance, accountability, and real connections. It's your business, and I've got your back. So join me now and make your dreams a reality. Head over to my website today. The link is in the show notes, and the membership is called Private Practice 101. I'll see you there. Bye. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. This is the first podcast for counselors that just don't align with the traditional approaches to business and that want to use their spiritual gifts, talents, and interests to create, you guessed it, a private practice with soul. So, look, leave it to me to provide you with everything you need, including strategies that you can use to increase your income, reduce your workload, and of course, increase inquiries and referrals to your beautiful soul-led private practice. I love it so much. If you haven't done it already, grab your journal, grab your pen, and let's begin. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Private Practice podcast. I am so pleased that you're here. And yes, you may have noticed I changed the name of the podcast because I have been doing, you know me, I'm a course addict and I love doing courses and learning all of the things. And I really loved Private Practice with Soul. However, I noticed that there wasn't a podcast called the Private Practice Podcast. So I just decided to grab that title because it just felt really good. So that's why it's the Private Practice Podcast, number one. Number two is I think you all know me well enough by now to understand that the way that I work is through the lens of the masculine and feminine, or the yin and the yang energy. It's that Eastern philosophy, mixing strategies and tools and processes and all that very, we call it masculine energy type stuff, along with the feminine, which is all about how do we be soft, how do we receive, how do we connect, how do we build relationships, how do we share our messages, what does it look like when we embody our voice and our practice philosophies, and all those kinds of things. So I believe that when we harmonize those two energies, you have the recipe for success right there. So I don't feel like I need to always be putting it in people's faces that this is all about soul, this is all about soul. I feel like I've done that. The announcement has been made. Everybody knows. And so now it's just the Private Practice Podcast, and I work the way I work through that lens. Okay. So that's why there's been the change. And also, of course, a change in the cover. So it's now like my brand colors, which, as you know, I change them, don't I, pretty regularly. If you go back, you'll also hear that I've changed the title and the soundtrack, the intros and the outros so many times, and you're expected to do that. So don't ever feel like you're locked in. That's what I say to my clients. You are never, ever, ever locked in. You want to be evolving, especially when you're learning new stuff all the time. And I'm addicted to learning new stuff. So I'm always evolving and always growing. So anyway, just wanted to give you that little update there. And today, I'm really excited actually because, well, as luck would have it, a few people have put in requests for podcast topics. So I'm going to answer them over the next few episodes. And I love doing this because to be quite entirely honest with you, I don't actually know that much about human design. If you're a human design person, I'd probably like to connect with you because I am kind of interested. I want to learn more about what this all is. But I did do my human design chart using one of the free online chart things, and it turned out, from what I can remember, that the way that I work best is by responding And so rather than me coming up with topics, what are we going to talk about today? This feels really good because I get to answer something, And I think I saw this too when we did the free workshop a few weeks ago, right? With the private practice workshop. I've gone into the free coaching calls that we did over those 3 days thinking, oh, I'm just going to teach them stuff for an hour. But what ended up happening was it turned into Q&A, and then you couldn't stop me from talking, right? And yeah, I was talking away for I think 2.5 hours on the last one. It was crazy, but I was so energized from it because I loved it. So yeah, I like responding to things. So if you have a question or a topic or something you want me to answer, just let me know, and I'm more than happy to do it. But let's have a look at the first one because this one came in first. So I'm going to read it out. This is from Michelle. Michelle has said, "Hey there, Brooklyn. I have a significant birthday in mid-June. I do too, it turns out. And well, not in June, mine's in August, but we've both got significant birthdays this year. So great. I'm already in your corner, Michelle. And it's made me reflective. I'm thinking of creating a self-guided 1 or 2 day mini retreat for myself to reflect on where I'm at and what's next for me to become more deliberate about crafting and living my life. However, I have visions of getting to the day and, despite doing some prep, spending the day in restless blankness. I've listened to you talking about taking yourself off to Dalesford for what seems like a similar process, so I was wondering if you have some tips for a newbie. I also thought this might be a really good podcast episode, as I suspect I'm not alone in a desire to do this, but I'm just unsure where to start. And also, if you have any resources for sale, that would be helpful. I'd love to know." Okay, so this is such a really, really juicy question. I can absolutely help with this. In fact, guess what? I'm going to Dalesford in May to do just this. So yes, I love taking myself off, and I often find my intention is really a little bit different to Michelle's. I don't really go away thinking, well, I have sometimes, but generally my intention is to disconnect, right? Everyone's talking about, oh, we've got to have connection, got to have connection. But for me, because, I'm autistic, I just really love space. I really love space. I really love peace. I really love the quiet, and it just helps me feel more like me, right? It's how I call back my energy. When I'm home, I've got little Buddy, my 11 months. He's going to be 12 months old on Mother's Day. But yeah, at the moment, he's 11 and a half months old, and he's constantly needing attention. My favorite thing at the moment is he's really loving afternoon naps. And for him, an afternoon nap now is from 1 p.m. till about 5 p.m., sometimes even 6 p.m. So it's getting to the point now where he's got himself into this little routine. And at 1 o'clock, he's like, I'm ready to go, and he'll just go into his crate, and he'll come say goodnight to me, and then he just goes, takes himself off to his bedroom, and then I don't see him again until like later around dinner time. So I've kind of got him when he's not asleep, you're like at me, but then I've also got other things going on. So looking after my mum is amazing, but there's often things coming up, can you do this? Can you do that? I need this. Can you go here? Can you do blah, 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 blah. And you know what it's like. So for me, going away is really about the disconnect. And when I disconnect, it really only takes me about a day or so. And then I just start feeling good again. And then when I start feeling good again, like the energy's back, and I start feeling good again, because I don't have all those distractions, I start feeling good again, then I'm able to sit and focus on what do I want to do with the business, and I can engage in those reflective processes. So that's just me. But as I said, I may be an exception to the rule here. But if you're thinking of doing something similar and you want to do it over a 1 or 2 day mini retreat, my advice would be the first, make yourself a little agenda. okay, because this is the first time that you've done it, you'll want some kind of little plan to follow. So I would have an agenda, and the very first thing that I would put on it is something, that's going to give you back your energy. Now, but it might be like me and just being by yourself, right? It doesn't have to cost money or anything like that. But think about what's going to give you back your energy, okay? Is getting a massage going to give you back energy, or will that make you feel more tired? Would going for a hike somewhere new give you energy, or would it make you more, calm and relaxed? Like, think about how you want to feel. But this is really about, you've got to be in the right space. So think about what energetic space do you need to be in, right? For me, I just want to be back in the black. Before I go on my trips away, I'm in the red energetically, usually. And the closer it gets to the trip, the further into the red that I go. So I know it's hang on, I'll just check with Siri. Hey Siri, how many more days until the 17th of May?
It's 16 days until then.
Okay, so I know in about 16 days, that's when I got my break. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. But I know like the last few days, like probably from the 10th to the 16th, I'm going to be struggling. So really think about, if your energy's in the red too, what's going to bring your energy back into the black, because you need it to be there in order for you to be able to do this deeper work around reflective practices for your business and for your planning and things like that. Okay, so number one item on the agenda, do something that's going to restore energy. Okay, it's the first thing. That can take as long as you need it to take, by the way. It might be a day. And then you might do, so if you're on a 2-day retreat, you might spend day one just getting yourself back together, just regrouping and hitting a reset. And then on day two, once you've regrouped and you've hit your reset, then you'll be able to move through what we're going to do next a lot more quickly and easily. And you might even still have time left over at the end of that day to go and do something else just for you that feels a little bit indulgent, right? So that's step one. Step two really begins with that reflection on where you're at. So as Michelle's saying here, she wants to, she said, reflect on where I'm at and what's next, right? So in terms of reflecting on where you're at, I'm going to talk really about business, but this is a significant birthday situation. So it's also going to be around life. The first thing that I will get you to reflect on is your values. So I would have a journal prompt that simply says, what are my values right now? And you're probably going to have the same values for life and work, if we're being entirely honest. So don't worry too much about breaking up things into categories, but just write down what's really important to me right now. And you might have 3 things, you might have 10, it doesn't matter, but write down the values, okay? The other thing that I would get you to list out is shadow values. So your shadow values, as we've spoken about in previous episodes, are the values that we don't really talk about too much because it's kind of like not really cool to talk about them. Now, some of the shadow values, there's actually 7, and I didn't come up with these. My coach came up with these. His name is Ben Harvey. And so this is his brainchild, not mine. So full credit to Ben over here. I'm just going to share them with you because they are so freaking powerful. What I want you to do is think about, these values and maybe write them down and circle the ones that resonate with you. So the first value here is attention. So attention, it is like feeling special. It means standing out. It means being a little bit different, getting recognized for stuff, variety, fun, creativity, those kinds of things. So think about how important is attention to you. The next shadow value is authority, and that is, think about sometimes how parents speak to their children, they do that with that authoritative way, don't they? Or maybe, well, I don't actually know if this is still true, but I know when I was at school, which was a long time ago, but when I was at school, teachers are very authoritative. Like they would tell you what to do, and they had power. They had like legitimate power and stuff like that. They would give direction, they would give orders, they were respected, they had a sense of being right, like that righteousness. And they also had like the freedom and the autonomy to do things their own way, right? So if that's important to you, that's okay. The third one is having a sense of belonging. So, shadow value of really wanting to be accepted by or being part of something, feeling like you're included, those kinds of things. The next one is control. So, instead of control, I use the word choice because for me, it's more about not, do I have control of this or that? It's like, do I have the choice? But can use the word that you like, but the word Ben uses is control, but I swap it out for choice. It's like being able to influence your circumstances. So, in a practical sense, for me, it's like having control over your diary. But I would say that as choosing when I get to work. Choosing, do I want to see clients Monday and Tuesday mornings, or do I want to see them every morning and every afternoon, right? Being able to control yourself and or others, having that sense of security because you're doing it, having certainty, having freedom and feeling really safe. The fifth one there is rebelliousness. So if you know me, you know this is one of my shadow values. I love to stick it. I love to be able to say what I think. I really love to be able to say what's on my mind and not even worry about it. I really love to shake up the status quo. And you see that in so much of the stuff that I do. I'm very outspoken about, professional memberships in the counseling community, for example. I've got my own perspectives on that, and I'm very happy to stand in that space and share my thoughts, right? I'm very happy to talk about, yes, there is a case for the role of addressing spirit in counselling. I think, if we're especially going to be taking holistic models, then I believe we can't just look at the mind and body connection. I think we also need to look at the spirit part of it as well. Faith and belief and higher power and, all those kinds of things are just as important and play just as much of a role, in my opinion, as a mind-body connection. And so, yes, I do speak about that, and proudly. I cop flack for it, but I don't care, right? So, yes, I'm happy to be a little bit rebellious. Not a problem. But rebelliousness in terms of a shadow value is kind of like being a little bit naughty. Like you feel a little bit naughty because you're going against the norm, right? You're going against the grain. Or you have that feeling that you're rubbing people the wrong way, or you're ruffling feathers, or maybe you're doing something in air quotes that's wrong. I don't believe in, things really being wrong. But it's that sense that you're kind of breaking the rules and you kind of like, do you know what I mean? Anyway, I could talk about rebelliousness till the cows come home. The next one is superiority. So it's similar to that one of authority, but here it's like success, ambition, achievement, morality, confidence, problem solving, being right, being better than yourself and or others. So that's superiority. And then the last one, number 7, is validation. So is this something that you really value but don't talk about because none of these shadow values you're going to be talking about. I do, because I believe in showing you what they are and giving you examples. And, I live a very, my life's an open book, as you know. So the last one there is validation. So it's like kind of like being important, but it's also being seen or experience a sense of being worthy or being enough or being good enough or being deserving, right? So that's the next step. That's the next part of the process. I'll just put my little book away here. That's the next part of the process. So, number one, call back your energy. Number two, revisit your values. Values can change over time. Usually they're pretty durable, but of course, they're going to be permeable. You can change them over time. So now, given it's a significant birthday and you're wanting to reflect, have a look now at what's important to you now in 2024 at this significant junction of your life. What are the bright, shiny values that you've got, and what are the shadow values that you've got, right? And then the next section or the next part is, once you've done that, is to really have a look at, let's say the practice, the business, and look at, what are the core values that are guiding the practice. I want you to look at how does the current state of your business reflect your core values, the bright ones, the bright shiny ones, and the shadow ones. Now that's a big question, and you could write on that for a very long time. In fact, I would encourage you to do exactly that. And one of the techniques that I use for journaling, I learned a long time ago. I did training with Rebecca Campbell. So she had a program there called Work Your Light, and it was one of the first sort of spiritualish type programs that I did, and I really loved it. One of the things that she said to me was, when you're journaling, it's really important to keep going with it. When you first start writing, everything's coming out that's in your conscious mind. Keep writing and writing and writing without editing, without worrying about the neatness or spelling or anything like that. Keep writing and writing and writing until you hit a wall, right? Until you hit that wall. And then once you've hit the wall, push yourself to come up with 3 or 4 or 5 other things. That's where all the gold is, because once you get past that little wall, that invisible line, then you get everything from the subconscious. Right? And that's what we want to be working with. That's where all the really juicy good stuff is. So use that question there around how closely does the current state of my practice reflect my values, the bright shiny ones and the shadow ones, and do that process, okay? Really, really important. And then kind of do it again, but this time for where you're at in life. So the prompt might look something like, how well is my current life stage and situation aligning with my values? Right? Write out that. Write until you hit that wall, and then write some more. A follow-up to that, if you want it, would be something along the lines of, in areas where there's alignment, what benefits do I get? What's working out for me? What am I noticing? And then another option to that too is, for where they're out of alignment. So where there is misalignment, what steps can I take to realign, bring everything back into congruence with my values? Okay. And then the last prompt there would be something like, in my life and in my business, if everything was to align more deeply with my values, what would it look like? And really, maybe even before you write this down, really just meditate on that. Really just read it, hold it in your mind, and allow yourself to sense in the way that feels good for you. Maybe you're imagining, seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling, just maybe you're using your clairs, your clairaudience or your clairsentience, right? Whatever is going to work for you, but really tap into that scenario in as much detail as you can, asking yourself things like, how would I feel and what changes would I see in day-to-day business stuff, like my day-to-day business operations maybe, and my interactions with clients in terms of the practice. So there's some things that are really going to be able to help you. That is the deeper work right here, okay? That could take you a day. It could take you a month, right? There's no pressure on you to cram all this into, taking yourself out for coffee in the morning and trying to do it in the cafeteria or the coffee shop where you're going. You don't have to get it all out, but maybe allow yourself space. Go to the beach, sit by the beach, sit on the pier, sit on the sand, go to a park, sit at a park picnic table and chairs with your thermos and a snack and all of that, and your headphones and music, and just, do you know what I mean? Do it there, or sit in bed. Like, I really love to do work like this in the bath. I have journals and pens and everything. My bath looks like a second office, honestly. Like, it's kind of embarrassing to let you in on that, but I think you probably know it anyway, because I do talk about it. But one of the things I really, really love to do is I love to sit in the bath most afternoons. And so while I'm in there, I'll either be setting up posts for Instagram and scheduling them to go out for later that day or the next day. So I can do that in the bath, super easy. The other thing that I really love to do is get in there with my notepad and pen and journal. Like, I love to do some of that kind of stuff because I've got the candles going, the light is dim, I'm warm and cozy. I've got a glass of wine. I'm happy. Yeah. It's like my little cocoon. It's my little safe space. So find a space that's going to work for you to do it, is what I'm saying. When you have done that, I think the next thing to do is make yourself a plan so that you've got something to take away. I mean, you don't have to, we all know that awareness is often enough to create change. But if you're like me, I do like the steps. I do have this very strong masculine side that's like, give me the steps. So I would, if it feels aligned for you and you're somebody who likes steps, I would, the next day or later that day or something, I would make yourself a plan, and I would really think about, okay, what do I really want to not do this year, but how do I really want to feel this year? And I would make it a feeling based plan, because I think so many times when we make plans, it's like, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to accomplish? It's all very masculine. And if you don't align with that energy, you're never going to do it, and it's never going to work. If you're somebody who more aligns with the feminine energy, you're going to get more benefit from saying, how do I want to feel this year, and what are the things I need to do differently so that I can have more of that feeling, right? So for me, to give you an example, I really want to feel less stressed about money. I really want to feel less stressed about money. So, what steps could I put in place that would help me feel less stressed about money? Well, number one, I can, make sure I've got a plan in place that's going to give me more money. So that could look like, at the moment, actually, that I'm working with a money coach. I have been for a few months now. One of my things is to launch. So, and I resisted it for the longest time. But when I did that launch recently, it brought in $16,000, right? That felt really good. Now I don't have to worry about money. And there's another launch coming up in July for the marketing program. I know that's going to sell. I'm not even worried about that. And then in October, it's launching. I think I'm going to launch PP 101 again. I think I did say I would open that twice a year. So things like launching. The other thing that I've got that takes the pressure off with the money is having monthly recurring revenue. So I have that with my memberships. I got a few memberships. Yes, some of them have turned into courses now, but I still have memberships there. And so people still pay me every single month to be a member of those things. So I know every single month I've got money coming in, even though I'm not seeing clients. I have an Etsy store. The Etsy store brings in, a couple of $100, or more each week on autopilot. I don't have to do anything for that. Though, actually, just on that, total side note, but it's really annoyed me or frustrated me. No, annoyed me. I want to say I'm peed off about it actually. But Canva made some changes recently. And as a result of that, a couple of things. Number one, we're not allowed to use the Canva logo on anything anymore because they're now calling it an IP infringement, which I don't even get how it's an IP infringement because we're not selling stuff and whatever. I think that by putting a logo on the cover of something that you're selling anywhere, just simply lets the buyer know that they can go and edit it or use it or what it was created in. And I think it actually creates business and traffic for Canva. But anyway, they say it differently. So there's that. So now, listings on Etsy that have a Canva logo on probably aren't getting the reach that they should because Canva's been, in Etsy's ear talking about how they're unhappy about it apparently. And then the other thing is when Canva made some upgrades a few weeks ago, didn't tell us, but apparently now a whole bunch of our links don't work. Now I've got nearly 500 products in my Etsy store, and I don't have the time or the inclination or the motivation or the energy to go through all 500 products and check that the links are working. In fact, I didn't even know this was a thing until when it happened about 3 weeks ago. People bought stuff. They bought somebody bought a manifesting bundle kit off me. Somebody else bought some templates for Facebook event covers and things like that. Somebody else bought something, I can't remember what it was. And they all were annoyed and they sent me these horrible messages saying how I was a horrible seller and had low quality products because they couldn't open the links. And I didn't even know that there was this whole thing going on. And before I knew it, I had 3 1-star reviews. 1-star reviews. And I was so upset and there was nothing I could do. And I was reaching out to the people who bought it and I said, oh, look, let me find out what's going on because the links were working from my side. And then I contacted Canva and I was saying, hey, Canva, what's the go here? And then they told me, oh, yeah, we made these changes. And yeah, now some links for some of your stuff won't work. And I said, well, how will I know what's going to work and what's not? And they said, well, if you're selling stuff on Etsy, for example, if people let you know that the link doesn't work, that's how you're going to know. So crazy. I mean, it's an easy enough fix for when it happens, but if people go and leave a review before they let you know that there's an issue, you can't fix it, you're stuffed. And so now my 5-star rating is, well, it's currently sitting on 4.5, but it's probably going to go down to 3.5 or something, which is just so sad because it wasn't even anything that I did. But anywho, I got totally way off track there, but I know a lot of you are selling on Etsy as well. So I just wanted you to know that's a thing. So, yeah, I forget how I got onto that. But, oh, yes, about thinking about how you want to feel. So feeling less pressured, less stressed. For me, it was around the money. So it was around what can I do that's going to give me that sense of reassurance, give me that cushion and help me know that everything's okay, right? So think about how do you want to feel in your practice, right? So if one of your values, let's just say shadow value here, because I don't think there's much point in me helping you out with the bright, shiny ones. Like, for example, if I said to you, if one of your bright, shiny values was help more people, if I said to you, if you got to help more people this year, what would that look like for you? Sure, you could open it up and you could go and journal on that. Journal until you hit that wall, then journal some more, and then use that more as the content for your business plan for the coming 12 months. Have a look at your shadow values, right? If you want to feel more respected, what would you need to do differently in the business to have that respect? So that's really important, right? Especially if you're feeling disrespected by EAPs who don't pay you on time, or you're feeling disrespected by clients whose credit card fails and you're constantly having to chase them up saying, hey, just wanted to know, do you need to update your credit card details? Or are you feeling disrespected by, other things? How can you what can you change in your business over the next 12 months that would give you a feeling of more respect, right? Would it be tightening up your policies? Great. Which policies would you be tightening up? Amazing. When do you want to have these policies sorted out by? Is it within the next 12 weeks? That will be 1 quarter. Is it in the next 12 weeks, or is this something that can wait? You want to do it like within the next 6 months. If your feeling is you want to feel like you've got more connection, right? I'm looking at number 3 here, which is belonging. Let's imagine you want to feel the greater sense of belonging, that you want to feel like you're really part of a community. If you can hear noise in the background, it's Buddy. He's eating and drinking. Good boy, baby. Think about, okay, which communities am I in? Do I feel like I'm part of them or not? Why is that? How am I showing up? Am I showing up, or am I sidelining? Like, am I just watching and I'm not actually engaging or participating? Is there a better community for me to be joining? If I felt like I really belonged and was accepted in a group, what would that group be like? What would be going on? What would I be doing? How would I be showing up? How would they be showing up for me? All those kinds of things, right? So think about from a feeling perspective, what do you want to be feeling more of? And then we can bring in the masculine of, okay, what's the strategy for that? Then you've got that recipe there for the harmonization of the masculine and feminine, and you'll make this work. So the business plan comes from all that kind of stuff, and asking yourself then, okay, let's say it is belonging. You want to feel like you're more part of a community. How important is that to you? Is that something you want to do in quarter 1, 2, 3, or 4? Choose a quarter for each of the things that you want to have or experience or feel. Put them in quarter 1, 2, 3, or 4. So all you really need to do is get a piece of paper and draw a square on it and put that square into quarters, right? Put Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and then just put a couple of dot points, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself, right? Maybe have 2 or 3 dot points of things you want to do. So I want to feel like I'm part of a community. Okay, step 1 might be in quarter 1. This is so important to me. It's going to be the first thing I tick off. So my first activity is review the communities I'm in. Step 2, leave the communities that aren't aligned with me anymore. Step 3, find a community or two to try and see. Do you know what I mean? And there's your activity for month 1, 2, and 3. By the end of that quarter, you will be in a community where you feel that sense of belonging, where you feel that sense of acceptance, where you feel valued, and where you're also showing up. Let's say, one of the other ones is maybe you have a value there, like me, of being rebellious, right? Breaking the rules, doing something differently. Maybe that's like a long-term thing for you, and you want to put it down in quarter 4, for around this time next year. Well, what do you want to do? How do you want to feel? If you want to feel rebellious, what would you be doing? What would you be saying? What would you be thinking? How would you be showing up for that? And put 2 or 3 dot points in there, and they become the thing that you focus on for month 1, month 2, month 3. And guess what? By the time you filled out your little plan, it looks so simple. It's just a square with the 4 quadrants, quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each quadrant has 3 little dot points in it. You've now got a plan, so simple, so basic, but so powerful, that you're now going to be able to, in 12 months' time, feel like you've got life and a business that's so congruent, so in line with the things that are truly important to you, right? And you'll be feeling like that deeper sense of belonging. You'll be feeling and embodying that sense of rebelliousness. You'll be getting more attention, if that's what it is, right? You see where I'm going with this. Now, if you wanted to take it even further, I would break each one of those 1 little dot points, right, into 4 mini dot points. So let's say the first dot point here is to review the groups I'm in. break that down into 4 mini steps and put 1 mini step in your Google Calendar on the Monday for each week and tick it off. That's it. So each week, 1 mini step. And that 1 mini step, by the end of the month, you've achieved that little mini goal. See how easy this is? So easy. So yeah, for me, look, I've bought so many planners and diaries. I use them for scrap paper now because I always have the best of intention. I always think, yes, this diary is going to work for me, but I never do. The thing that works for me really is I have an app that I use that really helps. And the other thing and the app is on my phone and it's also on my Mac. So that works really, really well. The other thing that I'm loving at the moment is just throwing things into my Google Calendar. So as you know, last year, I did a big review of where all the money was going and how much I was spending, and I managed to save myself about $1,500 by bringing everything over into one space, which for me happened to be Google Workspace. Got everything there now. I was able to let go of my Microsoft subscription, Microsoft Office. I was able to let go of my Zoom professional account. It's been so good and so much easier having everything in one spot as well. Easier for me and for my clients. But anyway, so that is the process. So that's what I would do. And then if you wanted to take it even further, what I would do is consider booking like a mentoring session or booking a consultation with me or somebody and, saying, right, this is what I've come up with, and just getting fresh eyes on it. Because we can't see our own blind spots, right? So I just get some fresh eyes on it. I'd say, what do you think? Have I missed anything? Could I be doing things differently? And then I would book one of those meetings in for the end of each quarter, just so that you knew you had that accountability and so that somebody could sit down with you and say, okay, how'd it go? How did you go with month 1, month 2, month 3? So each quarter becomes like a 90-day sprint. And then at the end of that 90 days, you're going to check in with someone and say, this worked, this didn't, and map out or plan for the coming quarter, right? Because you might need to make some tweaks or adjustments or improvements, things like that. That is what I would do. So hopefully, Michelle, this has given you a lot to think about. And hopefully it's going to stop you from getting to your 1 or 2 day mini retreat and blanking and, wondering what do I actually do. You have now a formula, a thing to process, a thing to do. So hopefully this is going to work. If you want me to put it together into a little document or a little guide or something like that, let me know and I can do that. But yeah, it was so much fun putting this together. I really love doing this because it works. It gives you a chance to, combine the conscious with the subconscious, the masculine and the feminine, and it's just a real recipe for success. So thanks so much for the opportunity to dive deeply into this. And of course, let me know how you go with your mini retreat and what comes through for you. Like, I'd love to hear the outcome. And for any of you who are thinking of doing something like this, let me know how it all goes because, I'm interested in you and, I love to hear about all the stories. So look, I think I'm just going to leave it there for now. But if you need anything at all, just reach out. Thank you so much for being part of my world, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. I hope that you loved this episode as much as I loved putting it together for you. To get more resources to help you in your private practice, head over to Instagram. My handle is @theprivatepracticecoach. And also, if you want more inquiries and referrals for your business, let me know. I have a program called Clients on Demand that opens every quarter, and I can absolutely get you some information for that as well. You are doing an amazing job. Thank you for sharing your gifts with the world. Bye.